So tomorrow night, Arsenal take on Bayern Munich in the first leg of the Champions League quarter-finals. A game that's been 7 years in the making. 7 years since we last competed in this competition, and it was Bayern that dumped us out, humiliated us out, embarrassed us out, 10-2 on aggregate. Losing 5-1 away, and then when Koscielny was sent off, another 5-1 home defeat to a Bayern Munich side that made us look absolutely terrible. It was ultimately a tie that sounded the death knell for Arsene Wenger's time in charge. He'd been so proud of our record of constantly qualifying for the Cup, but after that, it was all over. We'd been shown to have run out of ideas, fallen behind the pace. We were no longer one of Europe's top clubs, and it's been a long journey to get back. So I'll forgive any of you who were disappointed when we pulled Bayern out of the hat for this quarter-final. After all, the memory of that tie still sends shivers down us. But I watch a lot of Bayern games, and I was really pleased. This was the tie I wanted. We've got some scores to settle. And this is not that Bayern Munich side. Yes, there are still players from back then. Manuel Neuer's racing to be fit and may well start between the sticks. And I hope he doesn't, because he is, without question, one of the best goalkeepers the game has ever seen. Joshua Kimmich, who was a new player at Bayern back then, brought in by Pep Guardiola, playing at right back at the moment, linked with Arsenal. I really hope there is some truth to that, because he is such an inspirational figure in that Bayern side. Thomas Müller, the prototype Raumdeuter that many people said Kai Havertz had been brought in to emulate. Serge Gnabry, who left Arsenal for a pittance and became one of the world's best players when he joined Bayern Munich. Musiala, who's playing outstandingly well. Leroy Sané. Not to mention Harry Kane, who after years of scoring goals for Tottenham and failing to win silverware, finally decided to go and guarantee himself some by joining a team that's won 11 Bundesligas in a row, the Sextuple, Champions League twice. And so, should we be worried? Are we going to be outclassed again? Well, this is not that Bayern side. On the weekend, despite being 2 goals up against Heidenheim, playing their first ever season in the Bundesliga, Bayern ended up losing 3-2. They dominated possession in the first half when Harry Kane and Serge Gnabry gave them a 2-0 lead, but came out in the second half to throw it all away and effectively hand the Bundesliga to Bayer Leverkusen, managed by Xabi Alonso. Bayer Leverkusen, who've never won the Bundesliga. Known as Bayer Leverkusen, Witzekusen, the joke club of the German Bundesliga. So, should we be worried going into this match? Now, on paper, we have the best defence in Europe. We're in the best form of any European team. So if Harry Kane is going to win silverware, if any of these Bayern players are going to win silverware this season, this is their last chance to do it. And whilst they have just come off the back of 2 defeats at Heidenheim game and Borussia Dortmund beating them at the Allianz for the first time in 11 years, for all of the fact that their form has been pitiful, dumped out of both German Cup competitions by teams below them in the league, only just getting here with a narrow victory over a Lazio team that didn't even look like they wanted to score. Surely this game has Arsenal win written all over it. But is it as simple as that? There are things going against us. One is our total inexperience in the Champions League. All right, Kai Havertz has won the Champions League with Chelsea, and he will almost certainly start tomorrow. And this Bayern team are full of stars. But since Thomas Tuchel took over, their decline has been so rapid. He's fallen out with the media over there. He seems to have fallen out with the Bayern players, criticising Joshua Kimmich for not being able to play in central midfield when for so many years he has been a dominant force in that Bayern side, in that defensive midfield position. Changing things around, going to a back 3 for the game against Leverkusen, which saw them battered 3-0. Failing to keep clean sheets, even when Neuer's in. But the Champions League's odd, and this is a cup competition after all. So it's not inconceivable that with nothing else to play for, This is the one game where Bayern will turn up. Should we be worried? Am I being too optimistic in just going by the form book? The fact that we're so difficult to score against and they have so much trouble keeping clean sheets of their own. On paper, if you look at the form of these two teams, we are going to walk this. It may not be that simple. As I said, Manuel Neuer is racing to be fit. Don't really want to be trying to score past him. So how do I think this game is going to go? Well, as I said, they may start with Manuel Neuer in goal, and that's a challenge. Scoring past him is never easy. Joshua Kimmich at right back has been outstanding. Not just inverting, as he's often capable of doing, but getting up and down the right-hand side. Alphonso Davies with pace. In the centre of the pitch, they have De Ligt, one of Europe's prestige centre-backs. They have a choice between Kim, Upamecano or Eric Dyer. Could we find a way to score past Eric Dyer? In the centre of the pitch, in the defensive midfield double pivot, they've been playing Goretzka, who recently lost his place in the German national team, Konrad Laimer alongside him. They have such a wealth of players up front, from Leroy Sané, Musiala, Serge Gnabry, Thomas Muller, and Harry Kane. Is he going to come back to haunt us? Is he going to do what he did so often in a Spurs shirt and score goals? Will we be able to keep them at bay? I'm really confident. But there is another aspect to this, which is, given that all we have to do now, and I say this, all we have to do, but if we win our next 7 Premier League games, we will be champions. So has this come at the wrong time? Because after all, if we do beat Bayern Munich, we set up a semi-final against either Man City or Real Madrid, in between away games to Spurs and Manchester United. These aren't necessarily games I'd expect us to lose, but if you're throwing in this kind of fixture congestion, is that going to be a problem? Last season, though, when we went out to Sporting in that really disappointing penalty shootout, it felt like that was an advantage to us. After all, Manchester City had to carry on playing in the Champions League. We all know how that ended up. But when Pep Guardiola was asked about it, he made a point which now seems to have been proven true, which is it's almost better to have games every 3 days than to have a week between games. And I feel like we struggled with that last season. We struggled to maintain our rhythm. So perhaps the best thing that could happen for our title running is to throw in 2 more games after this against Real Madrid and Manchester City. And look, this season's Champions League final will be in London. Can we possibly win a double? Under Arsene Wenger, it was fantastic to be involved in Champions League football. And that final we made, that was a hell of a season for us in the Champions League. We didn't concede a single goal until something like the 70th minute in the final. It was there for the taking. Even going a man down when Jens Lehmann was sent off, we were still ahead late on into the game. I can't imagine never seeing us lift this trophy. Maybe this is the season we're going to do it. If we do end up facing Manchester City in a semi-final, what's to say we can't do what we did to them in the league and take 4 points, or in the equivalent? What's to say we can't get past them? After all, we've beaten them at home and drew away. If we did the same in the Champions League, we'd be in the final. In the final, could be any one of 4 teams. Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, Dortmund or Atletico Madrid. On our day, couldn't we beat them? I'm really confident going into tomorrow's game because I think that Thomas Tuchel has lost that dressing room. The players aren't playing for him. They know he's leaving anyway. Of course, it's possible that this collection of superstars will do it on the pitch. You never want to rule them out. An animal is at its most dangerous when it's wounded, and Bayern definitely are a wounded animal. Bayern fans don't really see us as a massive issue. On the Bayern's Mir Sanrot fan podcast, they were talking about how this side of the draw was an absolute nightmare, but not because of us. They're pretty confident they're going to get past us. They're confident they're going to get past us for a lot of reasons. People are saying that they'll get past us, which is that this is Bayern. They have all the experience in the Champions League and we don't. But pedigree in this competition doesn't count for all that much once a game's being played. I honestly think that tomorrow will just be another one of those landmark moments in Arteta's career where he shows how far we've come. And we are not at our ceiling yet. Do I think that we'll definitely get past Real Madrid or Manchester City? Do I think we'll definitely win a final? No. But I think we'll prove some more people wrong tomorrow, like we've done so many times already. They told us last season if we didn't win the league, we'd have blown our chance. We're still there. I'm really confident. I think that when it comes to the game tomorrow, Declan Rice is going to be instrumental. Hopefully he'll be playing more as a 6 and an 8 and we'll put Jorginho forward. Because I think that the way that Bayern play with Müller and Musiala and packing the area just ahead of the goal, condensing the play down to the midfield, leaving themselves slightly exposed at the back. If we can get Martinelli fit and pushing up against Joshua Kimmich and keeping him back, keeping him out of the midfield, if we can release Saka in that mouth-watering contest between him and Alphonso Davies, if we can have Kai Havertz busily moving in between De Ligt and Eric Dyer, finding that space, if Saliba and Gabriel can keep Thomas Müller and Harry Kane quiet, and tomorrow night, rather than being a distraction from the Premier League, may help cement the belief in the team, may help to strengthen the belief in the team that this is our year. This could be a truly magnificent season for us. Can you imagine winning the Premier League and the Champions League? Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to imagine it, I'm going to manifest it, I'm going to believe in it, and I urge you to do the same. If you think I'm wildly optimistic and I've lost my mind a little bit, let me know in the comments. But I'm saying tomorrow night will be a convincing victory over Bayern. And when we go away to the Allianz, look, team, if Borussia Dortmund can go there and get a 2-0 victory, then so can we. So, let me know in the comments how you feel. Come on, you Gunners. And until I see you tomorrow after the match for a post-match live show, be lucky. Lots of love.